run it back? And do you wonder if we could run all of the things I didn't know? I had to get out down the road inside of the same old, caught in the circles round they go. It's hard when you keep close. Rewind with my eyes closed. Might need a breather. Got lost in the B-roll. Let all the window to learn how the world goes. We didn't know how to move on. If we could run it, if we could run it back. And do you wonder if we could run it back? If we could run it, if we could run it back. And do you wonder if we could all of the things I didn't know? I had to get out down the road inside of the same old, caught in the circles round they go. It's hard when you keep close. Rewind with my eyes closed. Might need a breather. Got lost in the B-roll. Let out a window to learn how the world goes. We didn't know how to move on.
I feel a little stuffy today, to be honest. I think it's gonna rain soon, so I just feel a little like bleh. But that's okay, we're just gonna roll with it and get through with the day. I usually do my makeup when I'm in the bathroom, but I just wanted to bring it over to the computer today so I can like monitor messages. But I actually wanted to talk to you guys today because of something that happened over the last week. But my husband and I were going out to do grocery shopping. So when we closed our garage, he kind of just like stops when usually, you know, we would reverse and get out of our driveway. But he stops and he's like looking up at something. I'm like, what are you looking at? So I follow his gaze, and like right at the very corner of our garage door, there was this like little gray like acorn looking thing, and I got so freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what this is. But then first I decided to take a picture, and I'll put the picture up right here so you guys can see why I was so freaked out. And I told my dad, I sent the picture to my dad, and I was like, is this a wasp nest? My dad got back to me and he was like, yeah, it kind of looks like a wasp nest. And he's like, just make sure that there's like a little hole at the bottom so you can see like where the wasp comes in and comes out. And yeah, it was a wasp nest, and that was just so gross and terrifying for us. So yeah, we still had to go finish up our grocery shopping, but we ended up picking up some like, I think it's called Raid, to get rid of the wasp. The whole time that I was shopping, I was like thinking about it and like seeing it in my head. And the thing that like really disturbs me, because thankfully it wasn't that big of a wasp nest itself, and the way that it looked too, like if you guys look at the picture, I found that it was actually so eerie looking, and it looks so perfect that it was like really creepy and unsettling. And it really just reminded me of those like, you know, those geometric depiction of angels that you see sometimes online. So we went out and picked that Raid stuff up after we got our groceries, and my husband actually did this. I stayed inside. He was like, I'll handle this. And I was like, okay. I do not mind that. So we waited until like later on in the evening when the sun was down and everything for him to go out and like spray the thing. And I think we bought an entire bottle, and we ended up using it all on that wasp nest just to like really be thorough with it. And you know when you're playing a game like zombies or something, and then you shoot the zombie, and at the very end, like when you run out of ammo, you end up just like throwing your weapon just to hope that that little bit of damage would just finish it off. So I kind of imagine that he would just like spray the entire can and then throw the can at the thing and like just try to finish it off like that. But he did end up getting rid of it and now it's gone, which is really nice to hear. Yeah, just wanted to share. That was fun. That was definitely an interesting part of our week last week. I'm just gonna finish my makeup really quickly and then we're gonna get jumping right into work. I've been struggling lately to try to find people for user feedback interviews. I feel like it is such a misconception that like, yeah, of course, if you're working on your own like portfolio and you're doing your personal project, it might be difficult for you to find people to interview or to do testing on. But even if you're like working at a company and working at a company that supports user research, it's not always easy to find people to like want to do these feedback calls with. When we first started, like, of course, we had a bunch of people who were very interested in our product and really interested and taking initiative to give us our feedback either through feedback calls or even just like through emails. But I found that lately it's definitely getting a little bit harder, and it's not like we're asking them to do it for free either. For 30 minutes we are offering a $100 Amazon gift card for them just to like give us their time. But the problem is our user base, like our target user base, are lawyers who probably make like $300, maybe like even $500 an hour. So yeah, like half an hour of your time for $100 at Amazon probably isn't super enticing to them. So I'm not really getting as many like people biting as I was hoping to get for this new round. So that kind of sucks. I do have a sync up with my manager in about half an hour now. So I think I'm gonna bring this up to him and then hopefully we can like just brainstorm some like further incentives that we can offer to our users in order to get that feedback. But I still have a bunch of messages in order to get through before we do that call. So I'm just gonna wrap up with that hopefully.
Sliding doors, just wanna know you more. I hope you wanna be with somebody, spending all of the night moonwalking, with the view she could see her building. Try to tell her I know I feel it. Keep me floating, I'm on my back. Slow me down when I'm living fast.
Yeah, I'm doing alright. I am working on the breadboard in the afternoon, so I'm just going to review that and then also see if I can add anything to our insights table. But I'm actually kind of struggling with getting more users to do interviews. So now that we're back from lunch, I'm going to work on reviewing a breadboard that I made for a feature we're going to be building. And a breadboard is a term from chemical engineering, and it's where you strip away all of like the colors, the layouts, the font styles, anything like that, and just have the places a user can go, the actions they can take, and the information that's provided to them. And I feel like a breadboard is really valuable in that way because I have gotten feedback before from developers when showing them low fidelity sketches that I'm not sure I like this colored gray for some reason, or I think this box needs to be bigger to hold the data. And at that point, the info and the feedback that they're giving me is pretty, like, it's not very valuable at that point. So a breadboard is just something that I found to be really effective. And I did get some feedback over Slack, so I'm going to be incorporating those little bits of feedback, updating the breadboard, and then sending it back out for more feedback, and hopefully we can move forward. But for the majority of the afternoon, something I want to look into is our insights table that we have on Notion. We have been getting some feedback from users that are churning, so that's users that actually try out our app for the duration of the free trial but don't decide to sign up afterwards. And some of their feedback has been saying that our UI isn't quite as intuitive as they want to be, and I think the reason for that is because we have a few different ways of doing the same thing. So I want to see if there's something in our insights that can kind of guide us towards a path of thinking like, this is something we can remove, or this is something we should combine, or maybe we just need more helper text somewhere. I'm not really sure, but I also want to show you guys how I lay out all of my insights in Notion. So in Notion, we use a table in order to lay everything out, and at the very left-hand column is like our key. This is like the big TLDR of what kind of feedback that we're getting. Next, I have different types listed with it, like if it's a pain point, if it's a desire for a feature, or if it's something else that'll bring in value to our users. Then I go into a little bit deeper of user feedback, and I usually just write some notes, maybe even a quote sometimes of what the user said to bring this thing about, and any insights. So like, for example, if a user said in their feedback that they have to email someone to cancel their subscription, then the insight is like, hey, maybe we should let people cancel their subscription by themselves. Next is insight area, so what area of our app this is related to, probably like using the same example, like billing, administration, settings, that kind of stuff. And then I do source. So I did change up like the names and stuff just to protect some like privacy things for our users, but source is the company or the organization that the feedback came from. Our priority is next, so low, medium, high. Usually like the more sources that brought this feedback up, the higher the priority goes. And then finally, I have session. So for each of my user feedback interviews, I always ask my users if I can record them just so we have a reference, or if we need to watch them again later. And for session, I just write down like the organization that I talked to, who I talked to, and also the date that we had it. So if we want to look for our Zoom recordings, we can really easily find where it came from and be able to refer back to it. So that's just how I lay out all of my like feedback notes and insights to make it really easy to sort and filter in Notion.
I'm falling to pieces in my room. Are you coming over? That's cool. I could use a little something to do. We could go outside, take a little ride if you want to. That's cool. I did what I was supposed to. There's nothing left for me to do. So now I'm walking out by the open window, 'cause that's what I feel like doing tonight. Waking up my brain, maybe you can do the same.
My husband usually cooks dinner, but we saw shrimp was on sale in Costco, so today I'm in charge. And there was a lot of meat on sale, and my guess is that it's because with the weather being super smoky recently, no one was outside grilling. So today I'm making ketchup shrimp with a side of spinach. I clearly have no knife skills, but I'm starting with the prep and chopping up garlic and ginger. I got this recipe from my parents, so there's no measurements and everything is just a taste. Then for the green onions, I made green onion pancake for my family last week, so I put the leftovers in water and now I have more today. I actually really love this. I totally want to grow my own veggies one day. I have a neighbor that grows snow peas and melons and it's really just so impressive. So okay, now comes the sauce. Again, just a taste. You need ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, pepper, salt, and sugar, and just like a little bit of water, and then you just give it a mix. It's so easy and delicious. Can you tell I'm just a bit scared of the oil? First you want to put in the garlic and then ginger and green onion, and like you try to get it to like Bauern in Cantonese, but like I think in English it's just like to make it fragrant. But I'm saving half of the garlic for the spinach, and then the shrimp that's been cleaned and pat dry, you want to cook it to about 70%, and it was just smelling so good at this point. And now we have to add in the sauce, which goes in, and then I'm just gonna leave it alone while I work on the spinach. It's crazy how spinach just disappears. And we're done. It was so good. I took a picture to show my parents and my husband loved it too. It was so good, so sweet and tangy, and so simple.
Butterflies, it's exciting. We'll have a huge advantage in one of you going home.
So it's 7:30 now, and whenever I film a day in the life video, I always like to take those clips and transfer them right into my PC as soon as I finish filming for the day, because it just makes it a lot easier for me to organize and like get together a rough draft of the video, since it just happened. So I'm gonna do that first and then just kind of like slowly put it together. But this evening I really want to work on my portfolio. I'm at the stage where I am working on my portfolio deck, like the presentation deck right now. So I plan to get as much of that done as I possibly can. So I've switched over to working on my case study presentation now, and so far it's going pretty well. I'm really happy with the project and I feel really proud of it. So I'm excited to one day hopefully be able to present it to someone else. Yeah, it was just a really good project to work on. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been getting a lot of volleyball on my TikTok, and that caused me to start watching a few games, but I don't have any like channel or provider for me to watch, so I'm watching a bunch of old matches on YouTube. I thought that since I'm working on my case study presentation, I'll share with you guys one tip that I have, and it's something that I've been carrying with me since I started my very first job as a UX designer. When I first started working as a UX designer, I was actually a UX consultant, and that meant that I did a lot of workshop facilitation, client meetings, and presentations at the very beginning of my career. And doing that, I feel like it gave me a really big advantage of like being able to present well and just doing it more frequently, so that I would gather that experience and be able to use it as I go further along in my career, where presentations mean more and more. So this is something that I picked up from my very first job, and it's a really simple thing, but I feel like it can be really effective. And that is, on your very first slide, you just add the company name and the date of which you are doing the presentation to. So yeah, it is like a really simple thing, but I feel like not a lot of people remember, at least, to do that. But I feel like by doing that, you just look so much more like prepared, on top of things, like organized, and almost like the presentation was tailor-made for that company that you're presenting to. That's gonna sound really good if you are doing it in an interview. And I know that like maybe, you know, of course it's not exactly tailored because you are talking about your case study, but just having their name there, like even if it floats into their mind, that thought for a second, like it's going to give you a bit of an advantage, and it's such a simple thing to do that you might as well just put it in there, so hopefully you can get that kind of advantage. So the way I like to do it is on the very first slide of my presentation, I add this little section that says prepared for and then company, and I just leave that place blank for whatever company I'm interviewing with or presenting to, and I'll just change it depending on, you know, who it ends up being. Underneath that, or just like with it, I also add the date of the presentation, and it just like kind of ties everything together really nicely. I keep saying like it's not a big deal, it's really simple, but it really is. But I feel like the psychological effect of like making someone feel like something is presented specifically tailored to them is like, it's kind of like when you get the initials or like your name on those name tags that you get at like tourist attractions or like gift shops or something. Yeah, like everyone just likes to see something a little bit more personalized to them. I didn't really get a lot of those, not a lot of Charlies there. A lot of Charles when I was little. Actually, there was one time where my parents found one that said Charli, and they immediately bought it because we never saw anything else that had Charli. There was always Charles. So, you know, little things like that can actually mean a lot to someone, and that's just like a really easy way for you to look better to your potential employers. So yeah, just like a little consulting tip that I want to sprinkle into this video. I think I'm gonna end the vlog here. Usually around this time of night, I like to start winding down and getting ready for bed, playing with Bun, journaling, or like reading. And I don't like read any UX books. I kind of just like to read for fun at this point. And the book that I've been seeing all the time on my TikTok is Divine Rivals, which I ended up picking up on my iPad. So I have it here along with a few other books that I added to my TBR. So I might get started on that as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and spending the day with me. Thank you for watching. As always, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!